Okay, here again at Damerells in Fradden in Cornwall. Nice sunny day, very windy though. And I've just been given this little beast to ride. Look at this is the Suzuki Katana. What a cracking looking bike. This is, do you remember, you probably remember the 70s, they brought a Katana out which was a muscle bike, and it was turned into a street fighters. They stretched them and used them as drag bikes. And you can see its heritage there. It's quite a long bike compared to some other bikes. It looks a bit like a Diavel with the mudguard coming off the back, at the back of it. But it looks really nice, doesn't it? It's not very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a naked bike, obviously. It's got no bells and whistles that you can see, apart from the fact that it is, harks back to a previous decade. And the front has got like an ovally shape, all LED lights now, and running lights and everything. It looks really nice, doesn't it? I'm really looking forward to having a ride at this, because I've just driven it around the car park to get into this position, and it looks really quite cool. It's a bit awesome. Look at that tyre. Look at the exhaust. And I must admit, when it was running, it sounds absolutely gorgeous. So I'll just put it into neutral and start it. Listen to that. Doesn't that sound nice? Little stubby exhaust there. Now, we've been told that this sounds awesome when it's revving. Little lights there remind me of Batman, those lights. But I really quite like the look of it. Dashboard is in this dark green colour. The bike's only done 180 miles. So brand spanker. So the dashboard is very cluttered, I think. It's got a rev counter. It's in like a greeny blacky digitally thing. Looks very nice. There's different modes you can put onto the bike for traction control and things like that. You get all the usual stuff, the miles per gallon, and what voltage the batteries pull in, the range on the tank, and the trip, and a clock. It's very basic, but very nice. Really basic controls on it. Apart from the, I say basic, it's ridiculous. It's got a computer system running inside it. But it's got the grey switch on the left hand side. It's got your headlamps, all that usual stuff. Engine start, cut off, hazard lights. Nice big wing mirrors. Feels very light, but I suppose it is because there's not a lot of bike to it really. Oh God, and he stalls it again. And he stalls it again. That's the problem with getting on so many different types of bikes. You get used to one bike and suddenly you're riding another one and the controls aren't the same. Let's see what happens here now then. Oof! Did you hear that? The engine sounds awesome! As you'd imagine, there's quite a lot of wind against you. We're doing 70 miles an hour now. The engine sounds gorgeous. The gear changes are really smooth. Just flicking up through the gears as quick as you like. Maybe because the bike is brand new that the throttle control is a little bit harsh, so as soon as you roll off it's starting to slow down straight away. Good Lord. Down through the gears really nicely. So it rides, it's very light, very flickable. Good positive steering though. Brakes are awesome. Brakes are very strong. I can understand why people like these bikes. The feeling of power and the acceleration of them is just tremendous. You're sat in quite a forward position, you know, almost leaning over the front of the bike more than you would normally on a touring bike or something like that. But it's quite a comfortable position. I feel like I'm not being pushed forward. It just feels like a natural position to be sat in. My word. So once you wind it up, good Lord, it really winds itself up. Let's see. I really understand the Street Fighter type of bike. I don't necessarily want one myself because it's not practical for me, but this is just brutal power that's being thrown at the back wheel when you're hanging on, and the back wheel is enormous, you know, to take all that power. It does feel very retro. I mean, I've got a digital dashboard which has got all the information that modern bikes have now, but it sort of harks back to a time when you didn't get much information from your bike anyway, if you see what I mean. There were very minimal dials on bikes anyway, very blocky because it's like a 70s type thing. This is just a lovely bike. As soon as you take off the throttle, the engine's big powerful engine is starting to pull itself down. So it's got a 12-litre tank and it's 110 kilowatts at 10,000 RPM. This is what it chucks out at you. Lovely gearbox. Makes a lovely burbly sound, the exhaust, as it's coming down. Listen to that. Good heavens. It's a brute. Now for a Street Fighter bike, sometimes you find yourself really bunched up and crouched over them. This isn't like this at all. It's almost they could turn this into a big touring bike, I think. So it's a nice comfortable position. You don't feel like you're being pushed forward or made to sit with your legs right out. Some of them you find your legs really pushed quite out. This is not up against the tank. The seat is hard, but it's comfortable. You know, there's a small pillion seat there as well, which I think a pillion would probably not mind riding for long on this. Depends how high above the rider they would be. I don't know what to say really. This is a bike for riding and hanging on. You can commute with it. You'd have to wear a rucksack, I suppose, because I've looked at the back and there's nowhere to put strap anything on at the moment. I'm not sure if you can get luggage that will fit underneath. Good heavens. Like pulls in 6th gear, it's just wanting to go. It just doesn't want to be doing 60 miles an hour, that's for sure. I wouldn't say the exhaust burbles so much as it blasts. It seems to blast everything out the back of it. It's desperate to get rid of its exhaust gases when you're accelerating away. It's like a wild beast trying to be tamed. It's a very precise bike. You feel like every little notch and twist you make is having an effect on it, which in the way it steers. heavens. I keep saying good heavens like I'm a religious person, but I'm not. So low speed riding, it's quite accurate as well. Feels okay, but it doesn't want to do this all day. It definitely wants to be going a lot quicker. But you know, 20 miles an hour in first gear, just going down a slight hill. Bike feels cool. Oh yeah, different location and a different bike. And it's the Suzuki Katana. Little frog in my throat there.
Was that a pun on your book?
No, it wasn't. Oh, did I tell you I've written a book called Frog Tales then? Just as soon as you mentioned it, it's all about me. So the bike, the Katana. These were first made in the 70s, and these were like the massive muscle bikes of the time. People bought them. They're a naked bike. They stretched them. They turned them into drag bikes. They raced them on tracks. You know, they just became awesome things, street fighter bikes. And so this is like a throwback to that era. And if you look at some of the aspects of the design of the bike, it sort of harks back to the 70s when things were very square and angular. I remember I was there, and I can remember it.
You're old.
I am very old, mate. So, you know, it's a naked bike. It's got an engine that kicks out 110 kilowatts. That's about right, at 10,000 RPM. So it's a beast of a bike. It sounds gorgeous when you're riding it. I don't like street fighters so much because I just, you know, for me it doesn't float my boat. However, I understand why people buy them because it's an awesome, massively powerful bike. I'd lose my license on it easily. You know what I mean? And there's enough issues with bloggers losing their licenses and things going around at the moment, so we don't need to do that. But look at it. Look at this. This reminds me of the Ducati Diavol, with the, you know, because the wheel comes out past the back end of the bike. It's quite a long bike. Got this big hub complex here. The exhaust is really short though, don't you think? It's a little stubby thing. It's only what that you can see there. It's probably what 12 inches long, but it sounds amazing when the bike is running. I can't say it burbles. It growls and sort of snarls at you. Oh yeah, and when you open it up, my God, it's howling. Does that sound right? It's howling! Howling! So, amazing. I mean, it's a street fighter type bike. If you come around the front, we'll look at this, walk this way. If I could walk that way, I'd be in hospital. This is what I'm saying about harping back to the 70s. You know, it's got this squarish, angular design, even though they fitted LED lights on in there, which I shall switch on and show you on 2 levels.
Oh yeah. Very smart.
Very nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and this little dinky screen, I'll be honest with you, when you're riding it, you get a lot of force in your chest, but that's what the bike is all about, isn't it? You know, so
it's very futuristic, I think. I mean, I don't know, I can't remember the old one that you talk about, but when I first saw it, I thought that looks like something out of Tron almost. Well,
they were like a concept bike when they were first made. You know, and that's why people took them on and did things to them and changed them all around a bit, you know. So this is like, it's going back to how it used to be, but making it with a modern twist. And some things are good about it. You know, the engine, the whole handling of it is a really nice bike. The gearbox is gorgeous. You know, it is. But I can't get my head around the screen. This little dashboard. Nice handlebars. Has a turning circle of a small European country. You know, yeah. You know. But the dashboard, it's very minimalistic in a 70s way, if you can imagine what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They only had a rev counter and a speedo, nothing fancy about them. And there's a lot of information on it. It looks a little bit crowded, and it's just green and black.
Yeah.
So I find it a bit dull. When you think what all the bikes have got on them at the moment, you know, there's just, I think it's probably a step too far. They're trying to make it modern but look old in a digital kind of way. It's like going back to an old Casio G-Shock. You know what I mean? When you can have a Garmin watch.
You are old.
Okay. That said,
what about all these things up here?
They're called mirrors, mate. These are called mirrors, yeah.
How did you get on with these? Because they're off the handlebars, and then they've got this kind of weird configuration that not many of them have got. I don't know, a lot of them come off here.
What? You mean and they do that as well?
No, but a lot of them fit into here, which gives you that extra length.
Yeah.
But they've cut that off, haven't they?
I'll be honest, it was hard to see out of them, and it was, you know, I didn't want to adjust them too much in case, because I knew this was loose, so can't really see that much about them. Handlebars are good though, you know, they're not as wide as some, not as narrow as others. You're sort of sat in an upright position. It's almost a touring position. You don't feel cramped. You know, sometimes you're on these street fighters, you feel like your legs are being pushed out to the side and your hips going to dislocate. But this felt like, you know, you could probably, with a little bit of forethought, you could probably make this into a nice touring bike. You know, it'd be good for it. But to have to do something with a 12-litre tank, mind, because and the engine this has got is probably good for about 20 miles, I would have thought, the way people would want to ride them.
Yeah. You got a cod piece.
I have a cod piece, and that is really comfortable. You're not jammed up against it. You're sort of sat a little bit back away from it. It's a nice bike. Pillion, you know, you'd have to have a certain type of pillion sat on that.
It's quite wide though.
Well, you think so? Okay. There's nothing to hang on to, unless they hang on to you, or that. But you know, it's just going to fall off the back, aren't you? You know, it's probably not what it's for, carrying pillions. It's for carrying one person around B roads, twisty country lanes, going a little bit close to the edge. But I like it, don't get me wrong. I think these lights at the back remind me of Batman. I'll switch them on.
I thought they looked very much like, the style of it looks almost like the Hayabusa. I don't know whether it's because there's nothing here, and on a Hayabusa there isn't, but I mean, they do add an air of menace, don't they? They do. And this is like completely opposite to what the front end looks like. Yeah. Well, front it would be because this is the back.
Oh, that was right. I must get on them properly in front. But you imagine, you know, the front is quite square and blockish. Yeah. This is more like your typical
futuristic thing.
Whatever you say.
Yeah.
Massive wheel on it. Look at that monster. Nearly got the chicken strips down.
Or someone did before you.
Really. All right, okay, because you can see what I've done here. All right, so it's just a nice bike. I really like it. I couldn't buy one, but I like it. So, very short video. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. I know there'll be detractors and people who say we don't try these bikes hard enough, but we can't afford to lose our licenses. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe and bells and all that sort of stuff, and Toby does that. See you in a bit.